At a famous restaurant, all those who cook are undoubtedly excellent chefs. The term for cook in English can be either cook or chef. While both read individuals who prepare delicious food, there is a significant difference in their professional standing and expertise. Sometimes not understanding this difference can lead to awkward or embarrassing situations. One day, a tourist with a keen interest in European culinary culture visited a fine dining restaurant in London. While pursuing the menu, they noticed an intriguing inscription at the top where the chef created and the cook cares. Curious, they looked toward the kitchen, where they saw a chef wearing a pristine white uniform and a tall hat, passionately preparing food. The tourist then asked waiter, "Can I talk to the cook?" Soon the cook appeared and with slightly displeased expression responded, "I'm not just a cook, I am a chef." Feeling a bit embarrassed, the tourist turned to the waiter again and asked, "Does the chef cook better than the cook?" The waiter responded with a subtle smile and shrugs, implying that the answer could be both yes and no. This distinction in meaning stems from historical and cultural evolution of the word cook and chef. The term cook originated from the action of cooking itself. The word cook is the integral part of daily life, so its etymological root stretched back to Proto-Indo-European languages. The root word "pq" in Proto-Indo-European means to cook or to boil. This root evolved across the different linguistic families in Europe. The English term cook can be directly traced back to the Latin word coquere, which means to cook. This later became the noun coctus, meaning a cook, and spread across the Europe with the expansion of the Roman Empire. By the late 5th century, the term merged with the word from the Germanic languages spoken by the Franks, leading to the Old English word cook or coca. In 1066, William, Duke of Normandy, invaded and conquered England, ushering in the Norman Conquest. This event marked the beginning of the Middle English period, during which the language was heavily influenced by French, the language of the ruling class. The French word cook was adopted into English as a cook and later evolved into cook. However, at that time, cooks were not as highly regarded as they are today. Cooking was often considered the work of a serf or household servant. However, within royal courts and noble houses, cooks received special treatment, since preparing meals for the king meant controlling his life or death. Royal chefs were carefully chosen and highly trusted with the court. For example, Napoleon Bonaparte always traveled with his personal chef, Ferdinand, even during military campaigns. It is said that Dunant prepared Napoleon's favorite dish, chicken meringue, on the battlefield. Similarly, Queen Victoria of England was fond of French cuisine and hired French chefs in her royal kitchen. The famous Victoria sponge cake was created by one of these chefs and later became a beloved British dessert. During the reign of Louis XIV of France, lavish banquet became a symbol of power and wealth. The Sun King delighted in extravagant feast, employing the finest ships in France. This led to the emergence of a structured kitchen system within royal court, where different ships were assigned specialized roles. At this point, the head of a kitchen was no longer seen as mere cook, but as a leader, giving rise to the title chef of cuisine. This brigade de cuisine system was later refined by George Augusto Espiero, one of the greatest chefs of the time. Escopiero transformed the kitchen into hierarchical and highly efficient organization, much like a military brigade. Under this system, chef de cuisine became the designated term for the head chef, distinguishing them from the regular cooks. As a result, French chefs gained worldwide fame in the 18th and 19th centuries, elevating their status from mere cooks to the artists of gastronomy. Marie-Antoine Carême, regarded as the world's first celebrity chef, popularized the grand cuisine at the high art of French cooking. The word chef itself has nothing to do with the cooking its original meaning. It comes from the Latin word captu, meaning head. This word later evolved in Old French into chef, meaning leader, and chef, meaning head of a kitchen. While the chef became associated with the leadership role in society, chef became the exclusive to the culinary world. Today, the distinction between cook and chef continues to evolve. A cook generally refers to someone who follows the traditional recipes, whereas a chef is seen as an innovator who creates culinary art. This explains why the famous London restaurant had the motto, "Where the chef creates and the cook cares." The word cook, meaning to prepare food, has evolved in various meanings depending on the method of cooking. Cooking techniques have always adapted to different social and cultural environments, leading to the creation of unexpected words. One of the interesting examples is the word biscuit, which we enjoy today. Long ago, sailors prepared for long voyages needed non-perishable emergency food that was easy to carry. Since the food could spoil, they could rebake already cooked food to make it crisper and more durable before setting sail. This process led to the invention of the biscuit. The word biscuit originated from the Latin phrase bis coctus, meaning twice cooked. Here bis means twice and the coctus means baked or cooked. However, this term itself is derived from the Latin coquere, which means to cook. Therefore, the word biscuit essentially means twice cooked food. Unlike bread, biscuit contained almost no moisture, making them ideal for long-term storage. This made them staple for Roman soldiers during battles and for travelers as a part of a food source. Biscuit became essential for sailors embarking on long voyages, earning the name sailor's biscuit. This biscuit was extremely hard and dry, prioritizing preservation and nutrition over taste and texture. In fact, the biscuit was so hard that sailors often joked about whether they were meant for eating or for use as a weapon. Some sailors even threw them at each other to relieve stress, a practice known as a heart attack fight. There are even historical records of injuries resulting from these biscuit battles. Thus, sailors' biscuit became a symbol of survival and humor in hardest conditions. As time passed, the heart attack biscuit evolved. By the 17th and 18th centuries, the sugar and butter were introduced into biscuit making, paving the way for modern biscuits. In Britain, this improved the biscuit became an integral part of afternoon tea culture. As tea time gained popularity among the upper class, biscuits were widely embraced as a refined snack. A key moment in biscuit history was the rise of a digestive biscuit, which was promoted as a healthy food. This led to the famous saying, "Life which should eat the biscuit first." In France, biscuit, pronounced the biscuit in French, became softer and sweeter than their British counterpart. French patisseries introduced a variety of high-end biscuits and cookies, making them essential to gourmet dessert. The 19th century Industrial Revolution transformed the biscuit production. With massive production, biscuits became cheaper and more accessible. The development of metal tins allowed biscuit to be stored fresh for a longer period, leading to their export across the world. While British developed a strong biscuit culture, the United States embraced the cookie culture. The word cookie originated from Dutch settlers in the early American colonies. It comes from the Dutch word kwekje, where kwek means cake and je is a diminutive suffix meaning small. So the original meaning of cookie is small cake. Interestingly, cookie is not directly related to the English word cook. However, Dutch-style cookies gained popularity in early America, which is why the word cookie became the standard term in the U.S. Due to these linguistic and cultural differences, today in the U.S., cookie refers to small sweet baked good. In the UK, cookies specifically refer to large soft baked goods with chocolate chips or other mixins. Biscuits were first introduced to Korea during late Joseon dynasty in the era of modernization. At the time, Western patisseries were drastically different from traditional Korean snacks such as dog, rice cake, and hangwa, Korean sweet. Korean traditional sweet often had a chewy or soft texture, so the hardness of a Western biscuit was shocking to many. Some Koreans were puzzled when they saw Westerners dipping biscuit into tea, wondering why would you soak dry biscuit in liquid? However, people eventually recognized the convenience and enjoyment of the practice. Instead of tea, some Koreans started dipping biscuit into daechucha or honey sweet or adaptation to local taste. This reinterpretation of the biscuit led to creation to localized versions such as Orion's digestible biscuit, which gained widespread popularity in Korea. With the rapid growth of coffee culture in Korea, biscuits have become a beloved snack alongside coffee. Many cafes now serve small biscuits or cookies with coffee, enhancing flavor pairing and atmosphere. Next time you visit Café, take a moment to enjoy Biscuit and appreciate its rich history, cultural evolution, and global influence.